It has officially started. We are 2 steps closer to Anomaly mod for Stalker 2. As you can see right here, we have 2 mods called Lootable Zone and Craftable Zone by Chinese Piece, Zuna SW. Huge shout out to this modder. I mean, really good job and really good initiative in my opinion. This is really good. But the TLDR is basically Lootable Zone adds like a bunch of items like in the style of Anomaly. It adds all of these to the like loot tables of like the spawns in the world, and the Craftable Zone, which is like a framework, a crafting framework that adds recipes which utilizes those new items to make like some cool items like in Anomaly style. As you can see right here, you can craft detectors, upgrade detectors, you can craft medicine, ammunition, weapon parts, and like scopes and extended magazines. You can disassemble stuff, disassemble ammo, you can cook stuff as well. There's like a cooking system which is pretty cool as well. So just keep in mind, this is very important, these mods are in a testing phase, okay? It's just the first implementations. There's still a lot of things to do, as you can see right here in the to-do list, so just keep that in mind, okay? So I'm gonna kind of like give my feedback on what I tested so far, and I already did like some examples, as you can see right here, for like the repair system and all that, so, and the weapon stuff, so we're gonna touch on that a little bit as well, okay? So first of all, the immersion, all right? It is what it is. I love immersion, all right? It's very valuable to me, but there is some immersion issues. As you can see in these 2 clips right here, some small boxes should not drop large items. It's very simple. You break an ammo box, it drops like an exoskeleton and a scientific suit, or you break like a medical bag and it pops out like a whole guitar, right? That shouldn't happen, obviously, so that needs to be kind of like limited or fixed if it's possible, right? So that would be great. World models don't match the icons and missing icons as well. I mean, again, it's a known issue, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but pretty much like the world models don't match the icons and the items themselves. Like broken detectors is like a huge bag, empty syringe is a huge bag as well, so that needs to be fixed, but it's a known issue, so no problem there. Weight inconsistencies. The best example is like a sledgehammer is 0.1 kilogram and a syringe is like 1 kilogram, right? Nothing more to be said there. I mean, that needs to be balanced as well. And speaking of weight, more items equal more weight. Obviously, there's a bunch of new items that we need to loot and carry around, so weight is gonna be a problem. So that needs to be fixed. They need to balance the weight of the new items, right? Obviously, they need to balance them and they need to make it like kind of work with the weight system that is in game, or rework the weight system in game. Maybe like just add a 20 kilograms straight up to the skips inventory or something. Or what you can do also is like maybe add like a craftable pouches that you can add to your like artifact slot that give you weight, additional weight, because it's very important in the early game. So that's the biggest problem, is the early game, because you don't have good gear that gives you good weight, additional weight, and you don't have anything, so you have to loot everything. So that is the most problematic stage of the game, so that needs to be fixed, right? It's a huge problem, the weight system, right? So yeah, weight system, huge problem, needs to be fixed, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about the inventory sorting by section, right? Just like in Anomaly and in Gamma, like the inventory system should have like a sorting system, like 1 to 10 or something, right? So like 1 for everything, 2 for two for weapons, 3 for armor, 4 for ammunition, etc. 7 for like food, 8 for like medicine stuff, and the last one for like miscellaneous, like the weapon parts and the armor parts and everything, right? So that needs to happen for the inventory, for the traders, for the stashes, for everything, right? It's a good system. It should be in here for the amount of items that are available now. So that needs to happen. Somebody has to do it. All right. Speaking of inventory as well, and transferring stuff and on all that, stashes should also have like a put all mechanic. Instead of like stashes, you can only take all from stashes. You cannot put all from your inventory to your stashes. And most of the time, you're gonna be putting a lot more stuff that you're gonna keep in your inventory. So having a move all button is pretty good. So that needs also, it needs to happen as well. And speaking of transferring stuff, you should definitely implement the hover over things like from Anomaly and Gamma. You hold shift and you hover over items and you transfer them. There is already like a mod called faster looting that is already in the workshop, but it's hold control instead of shift, and it's a little bit inconsistent. If you can implement the one that is in Anomaly straight up into Stalker 2, that would be really good. The UI needs to be a little bit more clear on what it's trying to do. As you can see, this is the old UI for the crafting. Very small changes that I kind of did, and this is the old one, and this is the new one, right? So old one, new one, right? So the things that you don't have should have like red numbers, so you immediately know at first glance whether you can do this item or you cannot, right? Red numbers when you don't have them, so you know exactly what you don't have, right? And the craft item should be grayed out if you cannot do the item, and also the inventory should not be in between these two here. It should be on top of the item that it's talking about, right? Also, you should probably add tooltips when you hover over items. You hover over the Vinca, it should pop out like the Vinca tooltip, just like in the inventory, so you know what you're trying to craft, what that item is, etc. Right? So that should also happen right there as well. Okay, so they obviously need to add the things in the to-do list as well. As we talked here, there's a bunch of things that need to be implemented, right, for the lootable stuff to be like a little bit more consistent, more icons. There's some icon missings and all that. For the crafting zone, similar things. You need to add the crafting system, the repair system, the weapon repair system, and all that. And speaking of those systems, I kind of did like some sort of like a a prototype. Just I was messing around a little bit, and as you can see right here, just they should probably like implement something. This is how I kind of like envisioned it, right? Just straight from the PDA or the crafting UI, like either or, doesn't matter. So you should add like a tab for like repairs, and you click on it, it pops up like this. You have your inventory, you click on the item that you need, it pops out here with the repair kit needed for the item, and then it has like the armor parts on the armor like this, next to these dots, right? And when you click on the item, right, you click on them and it just pops out like a menu. You replace it, right? You click on this item, it pops out the menu. You click on it, it replaces it, right? Etc. etc. I think this is a pretty decent start. I think for the weapon, they are also trying to implement a weapon repair system with parts as well. So for the weapons, same thing. You click on the weapon repair kit pops up here, and you have like 4 parts. For example, for the AK, there's like 4 parts here. You click on the part, it pops out like the 4 parts for like 25%, 50%, 75, and 100. You click on it, you replace. You click on this, it pops out this. You click on this, it pops out this. You click here, it pops out this, right? I don't know, like barrel, bolt, trigger system, body or something, right? Stock or something, right? So hopefully this kind of like inspiring, or it kind of like helps them figure out stuff a little bit. So this is what I kind of like figured out in like 5 or 10 minutes, I think, right? So hopefully this is kind of cool. And speaking of these as well, the armor parts in the inventory, as you can see right here, they kind of have like a you can distinguish between them. As you can see, this is like a little bit more damage, this is a little bit less damage, and this is kind of like pristine, right? So there is some sort of like difference right here, but to see like what it is, you have to hover over it to see if it's 25%, if it's 50%, 75%, or pristine. So what they can do, as I did here, they kind of need to add like either numbers or just like the broken thing, the symbol for like all the items right here. So for example, as you can see right here, 25%, they should like the red one, the yellow one or orange one for like 50%, the green one, they added like a greenish color for like 75%. So it's good. And the pristine one, the 100% one, shouldn't have any like a broken symbol, right? So it shows that it's like pristine, right? So I think this is a little bit more like obvious, a little bit more easier. It's way easier to like manage the inventory this way, I think. Speaking of inventory and the crafting system as well, they should probably allow, or they should implement like disassembling right from the menu, right from the inventory. Right click an item, there should be like in the context menu, there should be like disassemble. You click on it. As long as you have the tool for it, you should be able to disassemble right from the menu, just like Anomaly or Gamma. There should be a thing if it's possible. Obviously, I don't know if it is or not, but yeah. Make opening the menu, the crafting menu and UI, instead of just like clicking a hotkey anywhere, anytime, you can just pump it out anywhere, right? You should implement it more immersive way, like you right click a tool, like a multi-tool, or like a screwdriver, or like a basic tools, advanced tools, expert tools, right? You right click the context menu, there's like open workbench, you click on it and then it opens the UI. That is way more immersive in my opinion. So that needs to happen somehow, or just keep it this way. I mean, I don't really mind it, but that's way better in my opinion, right? So let's talk a little bit about the item pricings and the balance, right? As you can see right here, pretty much the TLDR is like, for example, Hercules is like 1,000 rubles or something. All of these should be about between 500 and 750 like rubles, right? It should be between that, so it kind of like incentivizes the player to interact with the crafting system, and it's always more lucrative to craft the item rather than buy it straight from the shop, right? Now, parts and tools only sellable on technicians, so they should only be sellable on the technicians. Like all the armor parts and the tools, the multi-tools, the screwdrivers and everything, they should only be sellable on technicians only, right? And if you can create loadouts for like traders, the medic should sell more medical items, the bartender should sell like food items and cooking stuff and cutlery and all that, and the technician should sell like electronic parts, weapon parts, armor parts, and then the trader, the main trader, the general trader should have like ammo, but also it should add like a little bit of everything. Like speaking of traders as well, you should reduce and randomize trader stocks by a lot, okay? You need to reduce the stocks of the traders and randomize them, just like the Stalker mod from Gamma, okay? You shouldn't be able to craft armor and weapons, in my opinion. You should only be able to repair them as well, right? Because like you crafting a whole armor or crafting a whole weapon, I don't think your character should be able to do that. And also consider what technicians are going to do now, because they still need to be relevant, right? Because now you can repair your own stuff, you can do your own stuff. The technicians should still be relevant somehow, right? So what do you need to, like, the best thing that I came up with is that you make the repair kits, like the weapon repair kits and the armor repair kits and the cleaning kits, also like the replacement system, make them only work on weapons and armor that are 50% durability or above. So technicians should have like two options, like a restore option and a repair option. If you find like a really cool armor, but it's broken, like it's 32% or 35%, you cannot repair it. You actually need to take it to the mechanic for them to make it 50%, and then you can repair it yourself and make it 100%, right? So it kind of gives like the option for the player. If you have the parts, you can repair it yourself, save a lot of money, or if you don't have it and you're desperate, you can just pay the technician to repair it to 100% for a lot of money. In the to-do list in the craftable zone, I think they talked about like adding guides and all that, because yes, like your character should not be able to know how to craft all these like complex technological items like tier 3 NVGs or a Velas detector. So they should add like recipes, like 3 recipes, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? Very simple. And another thing about toolkits is that toolkits should include all previous ones. So if you have an expert toolkit, you should also be able to do what the advanced toolkit and the basic toolkit can do as well. So pretty obvious, just like in Gamma. And multi-tools, the multi-tools should be able to do what the pliers and the screwdriver, the hammer, the Swiss knife and all that. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit overpowered, so to counter that, either you make it very rare, or better, you actually add a durability to the multi-tools. Now, balance-wise, obviously, as I said, like obviously balance the drops overall, right? The amounts, the amount of drops that drop from like item crates and the durability of the weapons, the armors that the NPCs drops, the type of armors that the NPCs drops as well. So all of that should be tied up to like a tier system across the map, and like balance overall should be checked. I mean, it's the first iteration. I don't expect it to be balanced out of the bat, obviously not. And progression needs to make sense somehow. Yes, obviously. You should separate it as like, you know, tier-based progression, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, for like the recipes, the toolkits. There's basic, advanced, and expert, and you should like kind of like split the map to those tiers as well. Like for example, here there's the interactive map, maybe like lesser zone, garbage, chemical plant, and cordon. Maybe this like these 4 areas are like the tier 1 maps, right? These like tier 1 maps, and then Burnt Forest, Doga, Malachite, Yantar, Rostock, Cement Factory, Wild Island, Zaton, Swamp, Circa. These right here should be like tier 2 maps, right? And then the Cooling Towers, the Iron Forest, the CMPP, the Red Forest, Tiana, Jupiter, Pripyat, generators, and all that. All these should be like the tier 3, the high-end gear areas. Also tie it to the enemy drops. So you kill an enemy in garbage, it drops a tier 1, it has a tier 1 loadout, right? You kill someone in Red Forest, it has a tier 3 loadout, for example, right? And also tie it to the traders' stocks as well. Like Zalicia, for example, Zalicia should have like a tier 1 stock for like the traders, right? And also, like for example, Yaniv Station, right? The traders in Yaniv Station should have like a tier 3 stock instead, right? So kind of make it that way if it's possible. And also you should definitely integrate the mods to remove like the spawns in the map, because there's a lot of spawns, especially the medical line. There's already like mods for it in the workshop that like kind of removes like the medical item spawns, all the medkits. There's like 1,600 spawns of medkits in the world, I think, or something like that, that you can remove with that mod. There's also a mod by the same guy, I forgot his name, that removes like all the armor spawns in the world, all the gun spawns in the world as well. So those mods should be implemented, because like what you can do is you can just like rush to a really good armor and a really good gun, and you can skip progression. Also make NPC loadout based on this tier system as well, right? So for example, in Lesser Zone, if you go to Leshy and you kill him and you get his SVD, and you get a 100% SVD, right? So that also is kind of cheesing. Or replace those fixed drops with other weapons, with other tier 1 weapons instead, right? So it kind of like makes sense to the progression, so you cannot really cheese it, right? And kind of ruin it for yourself, right? And going with the traders, as well as we talked with the traders and the stocks and the tiers and all that, if it's possible, you should add a reputation system with the traders as well. Make it so that neutral, for example, the traders in Cilicia, right? When you're neutral to them, they have like tier 1, right? The default tier 1, right? Because the area is tier 1. And if you up your reputation with them, they actually start selling tier 2 stuff as well, right? So if you are friendly to them, they start selling tier 2. For example, in Rostock, they have tier 2 by default. If you are friendly to them, they start selling tier 3 stuff. And in Yaniv, I don't know, they're already tier 3, and if you are friendly to them, they start selling like really unique stuff, or like really high-end gear stuff or something. I don't know. I'm not really sure how that works, but you get the gist of it. Like, just make it like a reputation system. The default is like the default area tier, and friendly to them, the next tier, right? Hopefully all this feedback is helpful. All this all I talk about, hopefully it makes sense. And I'm not a modder. Again, like, I don't know if these things that I talked about are possible to do. If they are, that's great. If they're not, I mean, just ignore it, right? I'm not a modder or anything. But hopefully all this information that I provided and the feedback is pretty valuable. Again, thank you for making these 2 mods right here, and for the modding community in general to provide all these mods and work towards an anomaly for Stalker 2. All right, so yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please, as usual, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video, share it around, I mean, to the modder. Again, maybe they can like get inspired on some stuff or something, right? So yeah, Very cool. Also, if you want to check out other videos that I do on the channel, you can click on your screen right here. There's a pretty good variety there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, good hunting, stalkers.